recap of what we're going to do before the podcast. But God damn it, I was running a little bit late, so there we go. So basically, before everyone does their introduction, I'll just give you a general idea of what we're going to do. We're going to be covering uh, the Epic Game Store versus Steam with Microsoft with the chair slam assist. Because I mean, at this point, Epic's just been buying exclusives, and people think, well, they're winning. I'm like, look, they can't buy every game in existence, um, exclusivity. It's just like like even with all the games that Epic keeps on money hatting, Steam still has a massive fucking library that Epic just can't touch. Um,
I mean, whenever a first party company has an exclusive title, it's because they backed it up with their own money rather than money hatting.
that's what money hatting is.
I'm not like back it up, like back up the game's development with their own money rather than money hatting.
I mean, have you forgotten all those exclusives that Microsoft had during the 6th and 7th gen that they just paid off?
I mean, like
you know who owned Epic? Who had a very special relationship with them during this
Microsoft.
Yeah. So people are like, man, all these console people who are like, all these PC people are like, Epic, why is Epic doing this? They learned it from Microsoft. It's like that commercial from the. Well, you probably, I don't know about you, Pinky. You might not be old enough to remember this. When I was a kid, they used to have those "Don't Do Drugs" commercials. But they like tell a little story, and they had this one where this guy with this porn stash is like, son, where'd you learn to do this? Where did you learn? Who taught you this? He's like, I learned it from you. I learned it from watching you. That's where Epic learned how to do this aggressive console, game exclusivity bullshit from Microsoft. But here's the thing. I mean, Microsoft's been in the console business for what, 3 generations now? And they've never actually
been in the green.
They've never won a console gen, like never. I mean, has anyone noticed that?
Mm-hmm.
Now it looks like Microsoft is going to be pulling away from the console market.
Yeah, because they just don't have the money for it. But that's neither here nor there. I haven't gone over the topics, and everyone hasn't introduced themselves yet. We're going to talk about the NT Crates Luminous Gunvolt announcement. I'll give my spoiler review of Godzilla King of the Monsters, and then free topics. Let the lady go first, then the 2 gentlemen, and then I'll introduce myself, and we'll dive into it. So who wants to go first? Go ahead, Jewel.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the BS Busters End of the Week podcast. I'm Joey Moonstar, and let's get ready to clean house with my Microsoft and Steam.
All right, Kenoshi.
It's Kenoshi Abominito. You're saying, how dare you mix peanut butter, mustard, syrup, raw meat, and anchovies together and call it food, Mr. Kojima? What is that Death Stranding game?
With a healthy
vomit?
With a healthy dash of crushed up acid and LSD. If you will.
Oh.
So this is Biggie Don from Big Facts, and it's only 1 week left until E3 starts. So and I can't wait to watch the Mario Maker Splatoon 2 and my first tournament that we get during the first day.
You know, I hate to say this, but I'm more excited about I'm more excited about Men in Black International than I am
Then
about
E3
this year. And it's not because Sony isn't there. It's just like I pretty much even without Nintendo talking about anything, I pretty much have a general idea of what they're gonna do.
They're gonna promote games that are 3 years into the future and never deliver on good quality.
No, I pretty much like I have a pretty good idea of what Nintendo's gonna do. I have a pretty good idea about what like. You know, I have a pretty good idea what Nintendo's going to do. I have a pretty good idea about what,
Mm-hmm.
But I have a pretty good idea what big games they're going to promote. I mean, and there might be a few surprises here or there, but I have a pretty good idea. Microsoft, I don't really give a shit because, I mean, basically, like Microsoft's like, we're going to have a big E3. Basically, Microsoft has been positioning themselves to basically say, yeah, we're pretty much trying to pull out of this console shit without actually pretending like we're pulling out of this console shit. But basically, that's what's going on.
I think I'm done with E3 completely. I might even have a cast Wednesday, an anti-E3 cast where we talk about everything that isn't E3. So we go for that because I'm just kind of like sick of the whole thing.
I'm only hyped about one company on E3 usually, and it's because, well, the others, well, they lowered the bar of hype.
Well, here's the surprise. I'm not even hyped for Nintendo this year. I'm not hyped for any of it. I mean, usually, like, okay, I'll tune in to Nintendo's conference. But I'm just kind of like, well, I'll watch it when I have time to watch it. That's just where I'm at.
Yeah,
I'm just more hyped with Nintendo with what new games they might try to get me to steal my wallet.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. Like, I like some of the information that comes out of E3. Like, I like the PC show because, you know, I also have a PC. I like to see what's coming out on PC. Microsoft, like, here's the thing. Microsoft's, like, over the years, especially since the Xbox has basically been bent over to having getting a rectal exam from the PS4. I think it's hilarious that like a game comes out for Xbox, it's like, yeah, that's also going to hit PC and everything else because Microsoft just can't afford exclusivity because the purse strings have been cut. They can't afford it anymore. So I mean, it's hilarious to me. But anyway, with all that being said, I mean, like, E3 just doesn't really. I mean, you know, if Kenoshi has a podcast about it, we've talked about this. E3 has become increasingly irrelevant, and not just because, you know, like any information that comes out at E3, a company can basically put out themselves through their own channels. But because E3 has became increasingly more elitist. Well, no, elitist. Not irrelevant, but elitist. It's like, okay, if like I live in the DC metropolitan area, okay? So if I want to go see the Muppets or the Sesame Street puppets or the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles from the 1989 movie Suits, I can go to the Museum of Natural History, the Smithsonian Museum of American History, and see that shit. And that's fucking awesome. And you know how much it's going to charge? They're going to charge me to go see it? Not a goddamn thing. It's free.
I was about to say close to $0.99.
No, it's literally free. I mean, the only expense I have to incur is gas to go into the city. And if, you know, depending on the methods.
That's the funny thing. I actually called it because the only expense I thought out was travel expenses.
Yeah, and sometimes, I mean, during the year when I have a weekend or two free, I'll do a staycation, like a 4 or 5 day staycation in the city, and I'll get a relatively nice hotel when it's the off season, so it's like a really good price. And I'll just travel around. I'll get a metro pass, just travel around the city, doing a lot of free stuff. Go to the museum, go to the Museum of African American History, go to the Museum of the American Indian, even though that's really inappropriate to call
Should
it.
I even ask?
No, it's inappropriate to call them American Indians because they're not Indian. But that's neither here nor there. But I mean, like, if you want to go to E3, you either have to pay like for $150 for a 1 day pass, or be a press person.
And there goes any sense of cheap.
Yeah, it's really expensive.
I mean, that's a Disneyland trip you're burning just to go to E3.
Yeah. And it's like, okay, like what do you get to do? You get to stand in line and play some video games? Okay. I mean, I went to a Nintendo event here in the DC metropolitan area where I got to do the same thing, and I got to do it for free. So, I mean, I've had that E3 experience, and I was like, it was nice, but I mean, I'm not like, oh my god.
I don't know I don't understand why with the internet why they can't release some of these playable demos to the public. I'm not saying they have to release everything, but at least some of the stuff
that's playable, because it's all smoke and mirrors. It's all fucking smoke and mirrors with no real substance. Like, remember that demo they showed 2 years ago, that 2017 demo 2 years ago for that new game from BioWare, Anthem? That wasn't even that was just some shit they threw together to wow investors and to make it look like BioWare was working on something cool.
I was gonna say it was supposed to impress only one person.
Okay, that was not because like if you look at Anthem itself, like the actual game versus, they literally showed a proof of concept demo, and people got excited about a proof of fucking concept demo. That's some bullshit.
But that game wasn't. I don't think it was necessarily playable.
No, it wasn't. That's what I'm saying. It was a proof of concept demo. But here's the thing. A lot of companies, like, okay, we're getting on BioWare and EA because they showed that at E3 2 years ago. But a lot of companies do that. The only company that, by and large, like, if you see something on screen, that's close to what the actual game is. And that's Nintendo.
Yeah. I mean, even people get all up in arms about the Zelda 2015 Breath of the Wild demo, but everything you saw in that trailer, you could do.
It's very close to what was going on in that demo.
Yeah, I mean, you could do that stuff. Maybe not to the, graphical fidelity that everybody was thinking, but you could do all that stuff that you saw in the demo.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's like I said, the only company and their partners that actually, like, they'll show up at E3, they'll show something, and it's like, oh wow, this is the game, or a pretty good representation of what the game's going to be. This is Nintendo. Microsoft has people come up there and fucking lie. Sony has people come up there and fucking lie. Remember when they showed that Final Fantasy VII demo? Remember how I was like, yeah, Final Fantasy VII Remake, it's going to be fucking awesome. Have we heard anything about that game?
Yeah, that was the part of that was pretty much the straw that broke the camel's back when it came to E3.
Or no, the straw that broke the camel's back was when they had that man, the Shenmue man, come up there, and he was like Sony's like, yeah, it's the guy, the creator of Shenmue. He comes up there, and it's not that Sony is announcing Shenmue 3 is a Sony exclusive. They had this motherfucker come out there and beg people for money. It was the equivalent you go to church, and like they introduce someone who comes up there right at church, and they're like, hey, my name is so and so and so and so, and we're sending a mission to South America, and if y'all are having a third collection at the end of the service, y'all could give some money so we could go to South America. That'd be nice. You can't go here to beg people for money. Fuck you.
Well, see that's the thing. That was the straw that broke the camel's back for me. when it came to PlayStation. I was like, you guys have the gall to do something like that. Like, why not just announce it as an exclusive and fund the project? Like, what the hell are you guys doing? You guys not really have the money to fund the project? God dang. That was probably, for all the bashing some of the Nintendo conferences get, for all, it's like 2008 or.
Let me put it this way: I'd rather take 4 Wii Musics over the bullshit of having some guy pop up there and beg for money.
That was just gross.
That is so offensive.
I was about to ask. I just remembered, thanks to you guys. How far is that game so far?
I don't know. Like, here's the thing. I don't know why they would trust him for a budget when the first Shenmue was so over budget that it helped break Sega. Like, that's one of the reasons that Sega went out of business during the 6th gen was because of Shenmue and how much money they pumped into that game, and it bombed spectacularly. Why would you trust this person with a budget again? I'll never understand. I'll never really understand it. Like, why would you do that? That's like trusting someone with the budget. That's like trusting someone who bankrupted 5 fucking businesses with a budget. Like, why would you do that? Oh wait, I live in a country that did that. Never mind. But anyway, we're talking about the Epic Valve versus Epic. Yeah. Microsoft basically used to have a special relationship with Epic, and that's basically what Microsoft did. They would buy exclusives, and it really like here's the thing. Long term, it hasn't done shit for Microsoft. Like, never, not one single console gen has Microsoft dominated. They can't even dominate in their own fucking home country.
Well, they're currently the preferred company here in my state, according to state votes.
So
from a few months back.
So that's aside from the point. Like, here's the thing, okay? Nintendo, by and large, pretty much owns Japan, right? Like,
right.
I mean, for the last like two and a half gens, they've owned Japan. Like, it even when the Sony was really big, it was like 50-50 Sony and Nintendo splitting Japan. Microsoft has never dominated America. Never. Not once. Since they've been in the console industry. Like, Gen 6, they lost to Sony. Gen 7, they lost to Nintendo. Gen 8, well, not only did they lose to Sony and Nintendo, but they pulled out a gun and shot themselves in the ass 3 times as they were losing to Sony. While smiling. Yeah, I shot myself in the ass 3 times. Isn't it great? So all of that money that they spent on exclusives and special bullshit, it didn't do shit for them. And you think Epic would figure out, we actually have to have a quality product? Because, I mean, listen, I tried to use the Epic Game Store. Someone hacked my account there because it has, like, I went into my account. I'm like, why does this thing have my region being set for Malaysia? Never been to Malaysia. Flew over it. Never been there. But apparently, that's the bullshit we're dealing with. You know, and you know, but man, they like they're spending money on exclusives, but they can't spend money to fucking fix their shitty game store. I mean, whether you like Steam or not,
Steam at least has some things that are set in stone and high quality compared to what Epic has pulled off.
I mean, basic shit that we take for granted. Like, you know what I can do on Steam? I can go and there's a cart, a virtual shopping cart, where I can put multiple games in my cart and pay for everything and call it a day. You know, and I have no problem having my real credit card with Steam because I've never had my shit stolen on Steam. but someone hacked my fucking account on Epic. And I sent them an email. I'm like, yeah, someone hacked my fucking account. I mean, this is the bullshit they have, but they have money to spend on fucking exclusives, but they have this their game store was fucking hacked before the game store even was launched.
I was gonna make the joke that the hacking is so bad that Sony is laughing at them while they're getting raped by people from another nation.
Basically, yeah. You know, I mean, it's pretty. I mean, that's like you buying a new house, right? And before you move in, before the new locks get put in, you go inside and all the shit, all the fixtures, all the fixtures, the doors, all that shit stolen before you could even move in. That's basically what happened with the Epic Game Store. But they have the balls to go buying exclusives and not fixing their shitty game store. That is fucked up.
No kidding.
So, and before anyone says anything, well, you have a certain game that was exclusive to the game store. I'm just gonna put it this way: I didn't necessarily get that game on PC through Epic Game Store, and let's leave it at that. So there you go. But it is what it is. But yeah, fuck them. Fuck the Epic Game Store. I'm tired of their shit. But what do you guys think? What do you guys think about this and Microsoft coming in? Like everyone's like, well, Microsoft's actually, you do realize that Microsoft owns like I think 10-15% of the stock of Valve. So if Valve does well, they get paid.
Which is kind of interestingly bigger reason to not go with Steam if you're trying to get away from Microsoft's
or
Xbox.
Or maybe Microsoft's trying to make peace with the demons they created.
Not really. This just boils down to money and the fact that like you can't really get away from Microsoft because basically so much shit. Like if you use the Android OS, like a lot of people have Android phones, Microsoft holds certain patents that Android has to use in order for it to run on certain things. So you know Microsoft is getting a cut of that. Like so, either way, Microsoft is like Hydra. We have our hands in many things. That's basically Microsoft. So you can't really get away from them in that regard. It's like Google. Like Google was in so much shit, you can't really get away from it. It's ubiquitous, and that's basically how it is with Microsoft. Like you know, I pick my battles. Like I don't own an Xbox. I've never owned an Xbox. The closest I came was the Xbox One. Believe it or not, when they were trying to give that shit away because they couldn't sell them. But then I was like, wait, it's not backwards compatible and it's always on and like, you know, it's just not a very good console. So, and I'm less enthused about the Xbox now, especially where they had that diskless one. It's just you just download shit onto it. Oh man. But anyway, yeah, it's not good.
Yeah.
It's not good. Yeah, but people keep on getting people keep on acting like this is like you know people, well, it's interesting. It's like Microsoft, it's in their financial interest for Steam to do well, and for people to say, well, they're going to start putting their games on Steam because no one fucking wants to use the Windows Store to buy it to play a game. Because literally, like, okay, one of the joys of PC is that you can go into the settings, into the nitty-gritty settings of a game on PC, not even modding it, but like go inside or hacking it in order to get an advantage, but going inside and specifying it in order to unlock frame rates, change certain settings to make it more accessible for you as a gamer. You can't do that with games on the Windows Store because they want absolute control over everything because Microsoft's like that. Okay? Steam, you can do that. It's like if I want to go into a game, if I'm colorblind and I want to go in and make it monochromatic so that it's colorblind friendly, I can do that. Can't do that on the Windows Store. You're just get out of luck. And for those of you who don't do a lot of PC gaming, like, okay, it's like, I don't know about you, but when I play a game, I go into the option settings and I tweak the options. If there are options available, I'll tweak them for what I want. It would be the equivalent of you. Microsoft Windows games are like games that there is no option setting. If you were playing on a console, like you're like, oh, I want to adjust the brightness or I want to change the language setting. Oh wait, I can't do that. That's basically Windows Store games. You can't like what you pay for is what you get, and you can't make any adjustments. That fucking sucks. So that's why PC people aren't using the Windows Store. It's like, it's exclusive to the Windows Store. No one gives a shit. No one cares. Why are you?
Well, they tried this before with the Windows Live, trying to charge people to pay for gold or whatever for Windows Live.
Yeah, and Windows Live sucked. All right, no one cared. No one wants to game through Windows. Okay, like, I mean, not game through Windows because a lot of games, you had to have Windows in order to play it on PC. But like, you know what I mean? Like, no one wants to go through a little special service that Microsoft kicked up because it's just more bullshit than it's worth. I mean, like I said. You might not like Steam, but Steam is convenient, especially now. Now, Steam back in, 98, 99, 2000 kind of sucked. But, they got their shit together, and now Steam is really easy. I mean, yeah, it has to update, but after that, you're set, And most of the updates are quick. It's like Steam's updating, and like, less than a minute later, it's updated, and you're ready to move on with your life,
Well, that's the thing. Companies got to realize that Steam didn't exactly start out the greatest either. What people have to realize is Steam, they didn't, the Steam today wasn't Steam, 10, 20 years ago.
Yeah, but here's the difference though, okay? It's kind of like this, right? Like the excuse that, well, not everyone starts. Oh, that's true when you're the first, okay? And there's no example before you. But literally, Steam is the trailblazer. Like, if you create an online store now and you don't have a cart to put multiple games in so that you can do your purchase, and you can only buy one game at a time, even good old games from day one, you could do that. Okay.
Wait. So you're saying some of these stores don't even have carts? Like
I'm saying the Epic Game Store doesn't have carts. Every other game store, every Humble Bundle, every other online video game, game store where you can buy games digitally and then download them to your PC has a cart. Basic shit that Steam has had for years. Yeah, they didn't start out with it because Steam was one of the first ones to really get off the ground. I mean, there's been other online gaming stores that have risen and fallen since then. Steam's still around because they got with the times. But Epic, basic shit that every other game store has, Epic doesn't have, and yet they have the money. It's not like you can't say, well, they don't have the time or they don't have the money to do these upgrades. They have the money. They have the money to buy fucking exclusive like Outer Wilds and Borderlands 3 and shit like that. They can't fix their shitty fucking game store. Fuck them.
Who was in charge of their website?
I don't know, but fuck them. That's how I feel about it. Fuck them.
Yeah, because seriously, whoever was in charge, they need a +3 mace up there behind with initiative.
But yeah, I can't deal with it. I'm done. I can't. Like here's the thing, okay? Everyone keeps on saying, well, there's no such. I mean, you need competition. There is competition. from other game stores. I mean, there's Humble Bundle, which I mean, I wasn't happy when IGN bought Humble Bundle, but I mean, and you know, made them into more like the quality of their bundles kind of went down a little bit, but overall, it's still a relatively good place to buy games, especially when they're on sale and you get a good deal. Fanatical, which used to be Bundle Stars, great place to buy games. You know, Steam, obviously. Like, there's tons of other shit. Let me put it this way: even Nintendo's online store, and I'll tell you right now, Nintendo's online. Pretty mediocre. I don't mean mediocre in a pejorative sense. I mean the denotative book version of mediocre, which means middle grade, perfectly serviceable, no frills, not the best, not the worst, and then straight down the middle service. You have a fucking cart where you can put multiple shit in. Even Sony shitty online, you have a cart. Even Xbox Live, you have a cart. How the fuck do you get to be in 2019 and you don't have a cart for your fucking online where you can put multiple products in and then buy it? That's some bullshit. But that's Epic for you. We got money. Their motto should be, we got money to buy exclusives, but we ain't got money to fix our shitty store. There's some scam shit going on there, man.
And Epic steals the show again.
But
including this one.
yeah, I could be wrong. So anyway,
oh, did you guys hear that GameStop's internal system has just leaked 21 some unannounced games for unannounced E3 titles from Nintendo, Sony, and Microsoft?
Might want to save that for a bit.
All right.
Because I'm not sure we're going to get to that.
Yeah, that's a later story.
All right.
But anyway, which leads me, let's talk about something a little bit nice. Indie Creates releases Gunvolt Chronicles Luminous Avenger. Shit looks awesome.
It's impressive. I'm telling you that right now.
Yeah. I mean, NT Creates really makes good games. Like, they're the ones who made those, like the Mega Man Zero games for the Game Boy Advance and the DS. They make good games.
I just remembered. You said Indie Creates, right?
Yeah.
No, I'm probably overthinking it because if anything, I was thinking that they were one of the guys that helped Mighty Number 9 get off the ground.
Yeah, they were the studio who did the actual work. Like, they're the ones who actually completed that game despite not getting their money from Concept. You know, that money that Keiji Inafune, instead of paying the developers to make the game, he instead took it and invested. I'm using air quotes. You can't see me. Invested it into a company in China for some bullshit. I can't remember what it was. It was.
In that case, I feel so sorry for them.
Yeah.
In that sense.
Like here's the thing. Everyone's always talks shit about Mighty Number 9, but no one ever talks about the game. They just talk about what Keiji Inafune did. And I'm like, look, divorce Keiji Inafune from the game and just talk about the game itself. The game itself is mediocre. All right. It has some good ideas.
It's serviceable.
Yeah, it has some good ideas. It could have been better, but it's not like the worst game ever. It's not offensively bad or anything like that. It should have been better. And you know, part of that is because the people who finished it, NT Creates, weren't getting paid. It was like they were like, look, we don't want to put out a game that's not at least serviceable, because even though we're not getting paid for this, or it's like very little drips and drabs of our money because Keiji Inafune stole our money and basically put it towards some other shit. You know, because he's a terrible businessman. Like here's the dirty little secret about Keiji Inafune and Hideo Kojima and Tomonobu Itagaki. Okay, these people,
they're story writers rather than Rather than game makers.
Oh no! What I was gonna say is, here's the dirty little secret of these people. They did their best work when they had the support of a massive publisher in Japan behind them. Right? Tomonobu Itagaki did his best work when he was at Tecmo Koei. Want to know why? Because basically, he didn't have to worry about where his funding was coming from. They gave him money. He put out a game. It sold a certain amount, and he was happy, and they were happy. But then it got to be too much, and they let him go. And you notice he hasn't done shit really successfully since he left. I mean, I like Hironobu Sakaguchi, but he hasn't really. He tried. I'll give him that much credit. He tried, but he made some bad decisions, like Blue Dragon, Xbox, the original Xbox exclusivity, or was it 360? It was the 360, yeah. But no one fucking wants a JRPG on the Xbox 360.
RPGs and Xbox are like
JRPGs.
oil. Yeah,
JRPGs.
They're like peanut butter and salmon.
No, Japanese RPGs do not do well on the Xbox. Now, if it's a Western RPG, different story. Like I think The Witcher sold well on the Xbox 360. Witcher 1, 2.
I was saying that Japanese RPGs and Xbox are like salmon and peanut butter.
But JRPGs and Japanese games, they bomb on that system. They fucking bomb. I mean, and Hironobu Sakaguchi should have known better. But you know,
but still, people keep on trying to send an RPG to the Xbox. That's like trying to feed a dog some fish.
A JRPG, but you know, it is what it is. You know, they keep on trying. You know. If at first you don't succeed, try again until you go out of business. But anyway, yeah. Your guys' thoughts on Luminous Gunvolt, Mighty Gunvolt, Luminous Gunvolt?
Nothing at the moment.
All right.
I'm going to enjoy seeing where it goes next, but I'm holding to see what else they pull out, especially since I actually tried to play some of it at someone else's house.
What, Luminous Gunvolt? It's out already?
As in the previous Gunvolt game.
Oh yeah. Like the thing is, I really don't like games like that much. Like I don't like games that are like really built on combos and shit. I just, you know, I prefer my Mega Man to be pretty much straightforward, but
yeah, it's an odd tasting. I consider it an odd tasting Mega Man game.
Yeah, it's you know, but I mean, like the art style is gorgeous. Inti Creates, their games are relatively well polished. I'm having fun. With the sequel to forgot the name of it. It's the game where you play as the tank, Sophia the Third, and that kid who's trying to find his pet frog or some shit. I forgot the name. Blaster Master 02. I'm enjoying that too. And that's made by Inti Create as well. I mean, they overall their games are pretty good. Not great, but pretty good. You know, they aren't going to win any awards, but they're pretty damn good. So any other? I mean, like they're probably going to have gameplay footage on Nintendo's Treehouse for it next week. I think E3 starts on the 9th.
Start on the 11th, but I don't know. I haven't been paying attention.
E3 starts at I think it's the 8th, I believe.
Well, I thought it was the 9th because I know the 9th is when that Sunday is when Microsoft has their show, if I remember correctly. Microsoft, then Sony. Well, but Sony's not going to be there, so and Nintendo's going to be having their shit too. They're gonna start their tournaments on that Sunday. And then Microsoft's going to be doing their shit that Sunday, and then Monday there's no Sony, so I don't know what's going to happen Monday. Monday's going to be wild.
Oh, some breaking news. We got some new Earthbound 64 footage that surfaced from Space World 1996.
I don't even want to hear about it, man. I would have loved an Earthbound. I would have loved the N64 deserved an RPG, and Earthbound 64 could have scratched that itch. But it is what it is.
So what were the leaks for the Nintendo E3 conference? I'm just kind of curious. I don't really care about leaks anymore.
Yeah, it makes me wonder where the plumbers are.
The thing is that I don't think there are any leaks because basically the major big games have already, like, you pretty much know what, like, they're going to talk about Pokemon Sword and Shield. They're going to talk about Animal Crossing. They're probably going to talk about Super Mario Maker 2. They're going to talk about the other big game for this fall, Fire Emblem. They're going to talk about Fire Emblem for the Switch.
The only Nintendo-related leaks I've heard is in regards to the DLC for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, which is a Dragon Quest character and possibly a Microsoft character, whether it's either Banjo-Kazooie or Steve from Minecraft. Or
if it's Banjo-Kazooie, are those really Microsoft characters?
I consider them stolen Nintendos.
Yeah. And fuck the Microsoft characters. Fuck Master Chief and fuck Steve from Minecraft.
The only character that I can think of other than those that could even be on there in the first place is Blinks, and they already got
shit about Blinks. All right, like no one cares about Blinks the Time Cat. No one gives a shit. Even Microsoft doesn't care about Blinks the Time Cat because they let the copyright for Blinks
expire.
The Time Cat lapse, so they don't even give a shit about Blinks the Time Cat.
They managed to bring back the Voodoo character, the Voodoo game.
The Voodoo Vents?
Yeah.
Yeah, but no one gives a shit about that game either. Because when they relaunched it, no one gave a shit. Like no one cared. Like that's my point. Is that like Microsoft sucks with mascots? Okay, they don't even give a shit about Master Chief.
I was about to say the only one that they even give half a beep about is Master Chief,
and they don't give him his props. I mean, have people forgotten that Halo 5 is the one where they tried to get rid of Master Chief? They were teasing like, we got a new main character. We got a new character. It's gonna be
guys, what happened?
The guy who it was voiced by Mike Coulter, the guy who later went on to be Luke Cage in those 2 seasons of Luke Cage on Netflix. Now Mike Coulter has a really awesome voice, so I'm not gonna disrespect a black guy. But man, it's like, I'm just saying, you know what I mean? Like Microsoft doesn't give a shit about their characters. The only company that we've seen who actually gives a shit about the characters that they create, that their IP mascots is Nintendo, because they're fucking anal retentive about their characters. But Sony don't give a shit. Microsoft don't give a shit. Sega don't give a shit.
Poor Sonic.
Yeah. They don't give a shit. They don't care.
That's a surprise that the only company that cares about them to the point that they go guns a-blazing the moment somebody shows a picture of them. In a sense.
Nintendo's like, yeah, man, we ain't gonna have nobody fucking up our shit. Like literally, like if you want to do a picture of Mario, like an officially sanctioned picture of Mario, it has to meet certain criterion and guidelines. Like, and if you officially can do a thing in Mario, like if you do Mario merchandise, it has to look a certain way, has to meet certain dimensions, has to have a certain color. Like, I mean, they are fucking anal about that shit. But Sega licensed out Sonic the Hedgehog to Paramount, and they were like, yeah, we didn't know what design they were gonna go with. How the fuck are you?
This dense.
Toho licensed out Godzilla to Sony, right? When they made Godzilla in '98, right? That shitty Godzilla, everyone's like, that one's terrible. That's not Godzilla, right? And they showed them the design, and like this is like insider people, and they're like, it had gone so far when they showed us the design for that new Godzilla. we couldn't really change anything at that point. And like we had invested so much money that like we had to go all the way, even though it was some bullshit. But I mean, even they were like, okay, it has to look a certain way. It has to like we really want to have like know that this character looks a certain way. But seriously, I mean, like if Toho's like that, and yet Sega's like, yeah, we didn't know anything. It's like Jesus fucking Christ, what's going on over there, Sega? What the hell, man? How you go the fuck up like that?
Some things just are facepalm worthy.
So, guys, I just learned something new today.
Roll the dice.
Apparently, there's an official otaku slang word for Japanese, and how they describe people with terrible taste in anime. And they call them kiritos, named after.
I know. Sword Art Online.
Yep.
I wouldn't know. I mean, I thought they would call them Boruto fans, but whatever.
Oh.
You're a Boruto fan. Oh, sorry.
I'm not a Boruto fan. I was just trying to find out where it gets good.
I don't think it's
boring.
Yeah.
It's like it moves like. I thought the part where the confusion with Sarada and Sasuke and Sakura, I thought that was interesting. I thought the villain was really dumb, but I thought that aspect of the plot was interesting. But then it got boring again. It was just kind of like, geez.
See, here's the problem, right? Right now, we're in kind of like we're kind of like in a anime renaissance of good animes coming out that aren't your atypical moe,
Naruto, Dragon Ball.
No. I mean, we have characters. We have unconventional animes coming out that aren't your prototypical wide-eyed kind of almost feminine male character with spiky hair. Now, I mean, spiky hair, but we do kind of have a renaissance of that coming of different characters. Like we have One Punch Man. Which One Punch Man, like there's a running joke of characters. They're like, okay, the number one hero, the S-class number one hero king in One Punch Man looks like a total badass, but he's actually a big ass pussy. Okay, like he doesn't even have powers. He just has a scar on his face, and he looks badass as fuck, but he really can't do shit, right? And then you've got Mob Psycho 100, who, like, the whole point is that he doesn't want to use his powers, right? When he does, you get some badass action, but most of the time he's just like, look, I just don't need to do any of this shit, please. I just want to have a normal childhood, right? You have all of these animes, and then you have animes being based on light novels, and some of these light novels are really good. The light novel's better than the anime. Normally, like, the book's better than the actual, cartoon or whatever, the movie. You have, like, the Shield Hero. You have, a few years ago, you had Log Horizon. Like, you have Overlord. You have some really good shit coming out. Kinja no Mego, the magician's grandson. You have some good shit coming out where it's like a nice, something different coming out. And then you have this shit like Boruto, where it's like Boruto has no reason to exist.
Yeah, they could have ended the whole series with the last Naruto movie. I think people would have been happy. I would have been happy. It's like, okay, it's over. But,
I mean, if they wanted to go back to that universe, they could have done, okay, here's 300 years later. Here's what Naruto was able to accomplish as the Hokage of the Hidden Leaf Village. And here's the after effects of all this bullshit. There you go.
I made a short mini series about how Naruto accomplishment during as the Hokage, or like a movie or something.
Or like a mini 3-episode OVA. Like that would be nice. But I don't give a fuck about Naruto's son. I'm sorry.
I was looking at the Japanese because I'm not watching the English dub, and I was looking at the Japanese to see where they were at, and they're like over 100 episodes. And like, really? You guys are gonna drag this out for over 100 episodes.
Look how everyone wants to be One Piece now. But here's the difference between One Piece and Boruto and Naruto. One Piece, despite all the filler episodes, every character has their time to shine in One Piece. Every character has their moment to be, oh man, that character's badass. Even characters that you normally like, oh, that character's trash, like Usopp. Like
Trash, the obvious treasure, the obvious.
Like every character gets to have their badass moment. Like Sanji, like all Sanji's gonna do is just kick someone in the face. That's it. But Sanji gets to have his badass, and Nami and Robin, like every character, despite their weirdness and fucked upness. Poor Frankie, just more and more body parts.
Please don't revive me, because I feel sorry for the guy.
And Robin punishing him by grabbing his balls and squeezing him with her phantom hands. It's not in a good way. It's punishment. Like, well,
I was gonna say, rudely grabbing him by the ghoulies. That's the word.
That's the only part of me that's still here. No, I'm not.
Ghoulies.
And how they show her grabbing his crotch. It's not explicit, but you get the idea. Because you see her take her hand and go, and you see Frankie go, he falls down on the ground. Just poor Frankie. Poor Frankie. Poor soda guzzling Frankie.
That's how they get him to join the Straw Hats, which is the worst kind of way to pull someone in.
Because like sometimes all he'll be wearing is just some Speedos. Which I'm like, look, the dude's hands, he doesn't have normal hands anymore. He's got like little hands inside of his hands that he's got to use for like fine tuning. But I mean, the poor dude, he was in a bad accident. That's why he had to replace different body parts with like he's a cyborg. Shit, cut the guy some slack. Unless you're serious and you don't care.
Yeah.
But that's neither here nor there. But One Piece combines drama with humor. And here's something I'll give One Piece credit for. When they do a fucking movie, the movie ties into the actual show instead of what we normally see in anime, where the movie, oh, that was cool. Does it have any relation to the actual anime? Nope. Then this movie serves no fucking purpose whatsoever.
That's what I like about the disappearance of Haru Suzumiya and Naruto the last movie, because it actually ties into the actual canon of the show.
Yeah.
Versus this BS side stuff that nobody cares about. That's just a throwaway plot.
Like I said, Naruto got fucked up because basically the author he got caught up in the narrative and spinning it out instead of figuring out a way to tie things together. And he had characters acting against their shit. Against what they should have been doing, so it kind of fell apart towards the end.
I guess
starting again with Boruto, which is even worse.
I didn't even know he was writing that. I thought that was just something they were like Tokyo TV or whoever.
Well, he holds the right to the characters, so they have to give him money.
Yeah.
Ultimately, it's like Akira Toriyama. Look, I like Akira Toriyama, but man, he holds some responsibility for Dragon Ball GT.
Well, the thing about Boruto is it's like one of those shows where all the characters around Boruto are more interesting than the main character himself.
Yeah. Even Naruto was interesting because basically the first arc of Naruto, you're like why, like if you were from the start, like why do people treat this kid? I know he's a fuck up, but he doesn't deserve to be treated this badly. And then you find out later on, they treat him badly because he had a demon beast sealed up inside him. But that's not his fault. That's not his fault he had a demon beast sealed up inside of him. Because like here's the thing, okay? It's like you people treat Naruto like he's a piece of shit. He could have turned out to be another that kid from the
Gaara.
So I don't know. You guys better treat that kid better. Shit. Because look, I'd rather have Naruto Uzumaki than Gaara, because that fucker, oh god, that fucker was fucked up.
Yeah.
I mean, because when he was getting his ass kicked by Rock Lee, and how he crippled him at the end of that fight because he actually got hurt. Like this fucker is psychotic.
Like some of the lame ass excuse for the relationship between Sasuke and Naruto. It's like it was never alluded to in the beginning of the series at all.
Yeah,
it just felt like a last minute thing.
And the thing is that it totally goes against the ethos that was built up. Because the whole point about Naruto, he's like, okay, you're gonna have to be the Hokage, and being the Hokage of any of the villages meant you're gonna have to make tough fucking choices. You have to put your own wants and desires below what is good for the village. And Sasuke tried to destroy the village. So the logical conclusion, if Naruto wants to, like, he's a ninja of the Hidden League, which means he's a ninja. This dude's an enemy of the village. Naruto should have killed him. Like that entire series should have ended on a sour note of, this bittersweet note where it's like, you're my friend, we train together, but your ass has to go.
They just die together like Naruto promised.
No, because Naruto earned the right to live, where Sasuke, even after finding out, okay, my brother killed my family because they were fucking traitors to the village, that was his job, because he swear an oath, okay, ninjas are designed to be these thieves, assassins, spies who put duty above all else. And his brother did the right thing. He had to wipe out that family because they were fucking traitors. And so basically Sasuke was the villain after his great grandfather, that fucker. So I mean, at the end of it, that should have been the end. It's like Naruto, they should have had their fight. Naruto kills him. Maybe he's injured, and then they could say 10 years later, now Naruto is the Hokage of the village, and he's got a picture of like when they're kids, and he looks at it and he's like, I'm sad. I'm sorry I had to do this, but look, as a leader, I have to put my needs, what my wants and desires cannot supersede what's good for the greater good.
That would have actually made for.
That would have been a better ending, because Sasuke
a far more interesting ending.
The fucked up shit Sasuke did, he did not deserve to live. He did not deserve, and it's because even the perverted frog sage, Jiraiya, even Jiraiya would have been like, yeah, I'm gonna have to kill. If he'd run into Orochimaru, he's like, yeah, I'm gonna have to kill this fucker. He's gonna have to die. And they were classmates, and he would have had to kill him. He's like, look, fuck this bastard. He's got to die.
The thing about the whole Ashura Indra thing, which was really played up during the last half of the series, so the final act of that whole drama between Sasuke and Naruto, and
it was
Great Ninja War.
Literally, the guy just pulled some shit out of his ass in order to make it so that they didn't die. It's kind of like with Goku versus Goku versus Vegeta. All the fucked up shit Vegeta has done in Dragon Ball Z, where it's like, you fucking made it worse. Like Boo. Vegeta unleashed Boo. Vegeta unleashed Boo. Vegeta unleashed Cell. With all the fucked up shit Vegeta has done, he needs to die. None of it.
I was about to make the joke that
let's take Avatar: The Last Airbender. The reason the ending makes a lot more sense to me in that series is because Aang as the Avatar, his ultimate duty was to bring balance back to the world. So it made more sense that
he should have wiped out the Fire Nation. Not killed everyone, but taken their ability to bend fire. Just completely neutered that fucking nation, because after the fucked up shit they did, they kind of didn't deserve to have their abilities for maybe 2 generations. For
I see what you're saying, but it makes a lot more sense because that whole idea was sort of alluded to throughout the series. Unlike the whole Ashura Ninja thing, that just kind of came up. That was something that was alluded to.
I don't know, man. I would have preferred to see him go into the Avatar state when they took his flying ox and chained it. Which like his flying ox was one of his spirit familiars, and it was of the wind, and you can't chain the wind. And like he just gets pissed, and he's about to just kill these fuckers. I'm like, yeah, you shouldn't. You fucked up now. Like that's basically what I would have loved to see him do to the Fire Nation, which would have been fucking awesome. Instead, he just does it to the Fire Lord, which I'm like, okay, that he took away his powers. That's cool.
But he didn't want to kill.
I mean, he should have done that to the entire Fire Nation because they went along with it. Like, by and large, most of them just, oh, yeah, this is great. We should just totally fucking wipe out the other nations. Fuck them. Genocide on a massive scale.
But, that's two wrongs don't make it right since, Avatar is the last, Aang was the last airbender. And
they should have, look, man, listen. Okay, listen. It's a TV show. They're trying to be balanced and, show that all this stuff. Look, man, the world is not perfect, and you're right. Two wrongs don't make a right. But you know what? Sometimes it feels good.
No, I'm just not.
That's on you, Mr. Red Fox.
I'm not even trying to justify the ending of The Last Airbender. I'm just saying that the whole sequence makes a lot more sense.
Because it was built up and alluded to. It was built up and alluded to. Whereas in Naruto, it's like it almost came out of left field. They're like, well, we can't have, because basically they had power creep and they didn't know how to end it because there was no way Naruto was ever going to get strong enough to defeat Madara Uchiha. So they were like, oh, well, we'll do this.
Stupid power creep.
Yeah,
it destroyed Dragon Ball. It destroyed Naruto.
Yeah.
Who else does it destroy?
Dragon Ball Z. Dragon Ball Z just went to shit with the power creep. Like basically after the Frieza saga, it should have ended at the Cell saga. The Cell saga should have been the end of Goku's story. Like when he sacrifices himself, when he dies trying to take out Cell, and then his son has to take over. Then it should have been Gohan's story, but instead they just kept on just
pulling Goku back from the discard. It's like trying to call upon a new magician, but you always have somebody calling for the dark magician.
Yeah. So it is what it is.
And I should mention that JoJo currently has 8 parts, and they're most. And when it comes to power scaling, the most overpowered character currently right now is Cars from Part 2, and that was like in the 80s. And how they handled it was having Joseph trying to send him into outer space where he dies from a volcano.
I have no idea what you're talking about because I don't really watch JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Like I'm tangentially aware of it. I played a few video games. I've read a few of the manga, but then I just kind of lose interest. I have no idea what you're talking about.
I would highly recommend watching it.
No, that's
starting from part 1 in order to get a better understanding.
No, seriously, no need. Don't. I'm okay. I'm good. I have enough animes on my plate. I have enough animes to watch till the end of time.
Okay,
what about My Hero Academia?
What about Hunter x Hunter? It too has its most overpowered.
Yeah, but Hunter x Hunter. The whole point about Hunter x Hunter is that Gon Freaks is always like half the time. Yeah, he's good, but he's not like OP, and how he figures out how to defeat enemies. Like he earns the ability to overcome his enemies. It's not like some magic thing where it's like, it's like the Goku effect.
I'm talking more about power scales with villains. Like the most overpowered villain isn't even near the end of its isn't near the.
Yeah, I think right now it's the Chimera Queen, some shit like that.
It was the Chimera and King.
Yeah, some shit like that. But I mean, my point is that like when they overcome a really powerful enemy, they earn it. It's not like Dragon Ball where they magically, oh, he's got a new color. Oh, isn't that badass? It's a new ability. It's Saiyan God or some shit like that.
Instinct.
It's earned. It's earned. Even One Piece, like when someone gets more powerful in One Piece, it's pretty much earned. It's not just from out of left field. Hey, look how powerful this motherfucker is. And like okay, one of the most intense fights in One Piece is Monkey D. Luffy versus Crocodile, right? Now here's what people need to understand. The entire time, Luffy is in a cage filled with made out of some special material that saps the power of devil fruit users. Plus, he's been poisoned. so he's fighting handicapped, and it's an intense fight. Like, it is fucking intense as hell. Okay, I'm talking like hardcore knockout brawl, just ass whooping galore. Okay. And this is before he gets all of his the special abilities he gets later on in the series, like hockey. He doesn't have any of that shit. Just gum abilities left and right. Gum rocket, gum balloon, gum everything he's got. And it's still like the fight could have gone either way, right? Like, he just held on the entire time. That's an awesome fight, and the victory is earned. Literally none of that happens in
Dragon Ball.
In Dragon Ball, well, not Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z. Dragon Ball had reasonable power levels.
I said Dragon Ball because I was saying Dragon Ball overall.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. Dragon Ball Z for the first the
Frieza saga.
The Saiyan arc has good power creep. Even the Frieza saga has good power creep, because basically that whole fight between Goku and Frieza, like up to him going Super Saiyan, the entire time it's like Frieza is more powerful than Goku, and Goku has to dig deep into himself in order to get what he needs to get in order to at least go on the level. So it's always like, anything you can do, I can do better, right? Because don't forget, in the beginning of that fight, like, Goku's like, yeah, I'm using Kaioken's way, which is like Kaioken times like 100. He's like, yeah, I'm badass. And like, Frieza is like, oh, so you think you're pretty powerful. He just like, Frieza just goes up a little bit, and he's like dominating that fight against Goku. Like, the first 2/3 of that battle until he goes Super Saiyan, like, every time Goku's like, yeah, I got an edge, Frieza's like, oh, you think that's cool, huh? Pow! That's that thing. It's not until Goku goes Super Saiyan when Frieza kills Krillin that the Goku. I mean, Goku's kind of weird, because like, you can beat the shit out of his son, no reaction, but kill Krillin. Oh no, I'm mad now, which is weird.
Because he cares more about his training partner than his own son.
Yeah.
Priorities.
You know something about Dragon Ball Super compared to Dragon Ball Z? I just feel like the animation in Dragon Ball Super just seems lazier.
Well, not just that. I mean, you have to remember, Akira Toriyama is old, and he doesn't really do the animation anymore. And they're like, okay, animation is like, they're finding ways to do animation cheaper. It's like, I have Boomerang on on Amazon, and I have the new Looney Tunes show, and the animation for the new Looney Tunes show is so cheap that none of the characters look like what they've looked like in the past. Like, Bugs Bunny doesn't look like Bugs Bunny. Daffy Duck doesn't look like Daffy Duck. Not because they were doing something new, but because they basically cheaped out on the animation because like, no one wants to do hand-drawn animation anymore. And even when they do computer-generated animation, they want to do it cheaply.
It's a sad thing.
Yeah, it's really sad, because I was watching Duck Dodgers in the 24th and a half century, which also was computer generated, but Daffy Duck looks like Daffy Duck. Like, it's like a modern reinterpretation of Duck Dodgers in the 23rd and a half century.
We're talking the one that came out around 2003, 2004.
Yeah, the one that had Tom Jones do the theme song,
Yeah.
Duck Dodgers in the 23rd and a half century.
Yeah, man.
That was actually a pretty good show.
that's pretty decent.
The song was different.
Well, I mean, it's Tom Jones. I mean, this is the guy who did the theme song for Thunderball, where apparently he hit a note so high he passed out. Tom Jones, she's a lady. But anyway, yeah, I mean, but yeah, they go cheap. So basically, they want to create cheap animation. And so basically, they go with more CGI. They go with more simplified looks. It's the reason why a lot of the newer reboots of characters of like stuff like the new TMNT on Nickelodeon looks like really bad. It's the reason why a lot of the new shows, a lot of the new animated series go with a over exaggerated styles because it's cheaper to animate, less lines, more simplified things, so they can make more content with less time to do it.
So why are they getting so cheap?
At least until the next art style comes around in the next.
Which will be even cheaper. So they just keep on going cheaper and cheaper and cheaper.
Why do you think they're going cheap? They just want to pump this stuff out faster? Or?
Yeah, more content, less money spent to make it, and like the money that used to be made, like the way they used to make money off of cartoons was advertising, right? Well, I mean, they don't even do advertising and toys. No one's buying toys anymore.
I was going to say the toys are gone.
Not for kids.
Advertisement.
Yeah, not for kids. Like, okay, because I'm a fucking nerd. I got a Ghostbusters Proton Pack replica for like $500 because I'm a Ghostbusters fan. But like I'm a grown ass man.
I was going to say it's sad to see people going away from the toys because there's no advertisement in them.
But here's the difference: I'm a grown ass man and I don't have any kids. The people who are buying the quote unquote toys are adults. Like kids aren't buying them. So it's like there's not money in the merchandising anymore. So for like cartoons and animation. And some of it is just they aren't putting it out anymore. Like
or maybe because people are more likely buying the toys online rather than in retail stores.
Yeah, but they aren't buying it online either because those sales are tracked as well. Like I'll tell you right now, I'll use Star Wars as an example. People ain't buying Rey dolls in the stores, and they ain't buying them online either. They ain't buying that new Millennium Falcon in stores. They ain't buying it online either. Those action figures are languishing away in a factory someplace.
Oh, they have to.
Or they're out in a discount store at under 90%.
Yeah,
I guess they gotta make smartphone games or tablet games. So.
Yeah, that's a revenue stream, but you have to be a major fan, and those are like boom bust types of games.
I was gonna say the mobile game system is the only way you're saying that they make money.
Yeah, but
that's a casino bet.
Yeah, but they're boom. Well, not to that. It's just a boom or bust. Like something is hot for maybe 2 or 3 months, and then it goes away. Like it's like okay, Pokemon Go and Fire Emblem and Dragalia Lost. Like shit that Nintendo's doing is odd, and even that's having its boom and bust because Pokemon Go doesn't have the numbers it had when it first came out.
Wish it had lower numbers.
Fire Emblem Awaken and Fire Emblem Mobile doesn't have the numbers now that it had when it came out. Like these things are boom or bust. Like the best you can hope for is that you get a stable base of people that are willing to give you drips and drabs of their money over a period of time. You can't it's not dependable money. It's like as a business owner, I would rather have 80 customers come in a week who spend $20 to $30 every week, for like 40 weeks of the year, than someone who comes in once every 3 or 4 months and spends $300. You get what I'm saying?
You want a constant revenue stream than just a one shot.
Exactly. And that's the problem with mobile is that it's very
one shot.
It's very one shot. Like when something first comes out, a lot of money, and then after about 3-6 months, maybe a year, it goes down to just meh. You know, so
Yeah.
is what it is.
The only so far are games that seem to have a legacy, and that's a rarity.
Yeah, especially on mobile, because if you have a legacy, why go on mobile? You know, like, what's the point? But anyway, we're at the free topic portion, so
I want to talk about Death Stranding. I want to talk about that. I think it's digital vomit for one thing. And I think
digital aspiration.
Yeah. God bless you if you guys are part of the joke. I wish we had somebody that played through all the Metal Gear games and can explain the joke and the punchline. But then I guess after that, it just wouldn't be funny. But in any case, I don't get it. I don't get why people clamor behind these games. Like, oh, Kojima is such a mystery. This is my biggest problem with the game, is that it looks like it's trying to be strange and mysterious just for the plain sake of being strange and mysterious. I know what you're all going to say. Oh, well, Kojima explained it on various blogs and various websites. The fact that I have to go to a different site, a different vlog to figure out what the game's about, and the trailer can't give me at least, idea what the game's actually about. That's a pretty bad trailer.
Well, I mean, that's like a movie. If I have to watch supplemental material in order to understand what your movie is about, the movie fucking sucks.
Yep.
AKA, how come Final Fantasy 15 sucks?
Because it's just a bad game. but
it's a bad game. It has the story behind it is in movies that are on other systems.
It's like, well, if you want to understand the full story, you got to watch this movie. No, I don't. No.
The gameplay, oh god, boo! I had to get on one of our usual friends for that one.
I mean, you can, it's, you shouldn't have to do supplemental material for a thing. That's like saying, hey, you want to enjoy Moby Dick? Yeah. Well, read all this other shit before you read Moby Dick. It's like, no, I don't have to do all that shit. Hey, you want to understand Huck Finn? Or read all this other shit before you read Huck Finn in order to understand Huck Finn. Fuck you.
Yeah. No, I don't know if any of you others watched that trailer, but something about magical babies and saving America and a guy named Sam, because it's based off of America and America's ruined, so let's have a main character named Sam, named after Uncle Sam. Because
is the baby his nephew? So he's Uncle Sam. Is that it?
I don't know. I just thought
he had a C-section star, so I thought maybe the baby was from Norman Reedus. It was like a bud or something that came off of him or something.
His name is Sam, and he's supposed to be this American hero, trying to bring America back.
He's G.I. Joe. G.I. Joe, American hero. G.I. Joe.
I'm so clever. I'm just so clever. Whatever. It's just one of those things. It's like, guys, I don't think Kojima is as smart as you think he is.
He isn't. Haven't you figured out that the only reason Metal Gear, the writing in Metal Gear, the characters, literally the reason that Metal Gear has a somewhat coherent script is because this lady who was part of the team used to have to polish up the script ideas that were given to her by Hideo Kojima. So literally, he's not even in charge of making Metal Gear's plots good. And to be honest with you, the best games that Kojima has made were knockoffs of movies. Like I said earlier, Police Knots is Lethal Weapon in space. And Lethal Weapon's a good movie. Mel Gibson's a piece of shit, but Lethal Weapon is great. Snatcher is Blade Runner. It's not even in space. It's literally 1-for-1 Blade Runner. It's a game about robots going crazy and attacking people, and you're a detective / you're a specialized detective who hunts down and decommissions out of control robots. It's Blade Runner. It's fucking Blade Runner.
Yeah, I think Kojima's cup overfloweth just because of the fact that he's gotten so bizarre and so weird that
He's believing his own bullshit. That's the problem. Like he's like Tomonobu Itagaki and Keiji Inafune. Like they're people who leave the company they worked for that gave them a lot of money to make games, and then they start believing their own bullshit. And here's the thing: it's one thing to have a healthy ego, but when you start to believe the bullshit, you know,
You need to get high.
It's like that song. Don't believe the hype. Don't believe the hype. Don't believe the hype.
Well, Kojima's a fart huffer. If you're familiar with the whole.
Yeah. He sits in a closet. He sits in a small closet and he farts and he smells it. He's like, it's not that bad. I think I'll sit in this closet and read this book. Yeah, it's not that bad. I think it's not that bad.
South Park.
It's not that bad. Like his own cooking does not bother him, but I'm here to tell you, Kojima, your farts stink, and they smell pretty bad. You might need to start getting some more fiber in your diet, bro.
So I wonder if this will be the game when it comes out and people wake up and realize this guy is not nearly as smart as they thought he was.
He's a fraud.
Someone already did with his Razor Fist.
Yeah, but Razor Fist.
Yeah, that guy's a bit of a racist. And a sexist.
Kind of an asshole. But overall, yeah, I think the game's going to come out and it's going to be like all these other Sony exclusives where it's going to come out. It's probably going to do okay, but then after the fact, people are going to be like, this game's not that good. And it'll probably be, I guarantee you that by next year, it'll probably be like $30 or $20 on sale because they're trying to get rid of it. Just like they're trying to get rid of those fucking PS1 classics. Anyone else have anything else to say before I close this out with my Godzilla King of the Monsters review?
Will Kojima be the cannonball that sinks the boat of Sony?
I don't know about that, but they spent a lot of fucking money getting that game made.
There's going to be a hole in Sony's pocket, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I've got one thing to say. Mario Tennis Aces pulled a Smash Brothers on us.
What happened?
They announced a freaking piranha plant as a playable character.
Yeah, it's like the last special character. So now you're fighting a piranha. You're going up against a piranha plant. I mean, I guess that's cool.
But it's not just a piranha plant; it's a fire piranha plant.
Oh, that's cool.
I'm sorry, that's just silly. I mean, come on.
And it's one of the two final characters for the Mario Tennis Aces daily roster updates.
I mean, that's cool. If you're really into Mario Tennis Aces, this is for you. I mean, I'm not, so I don't really care. Anyone else have anything else they wanna?
I'm set.
All right, so I guess I can
let me start this up for you. If you haven't watched Godzilla, then please you have been warned, and it's been a great pleasure to have you into our podcast. Take care and see you off.
So if you haven't watched it and you care about spoilers, you can head off now. If you have watched it and you don't give a shit and you just want to hear me fan out about it for a little bit, stay. If you haven't watched it but you don't care about spoilers, go ahead. This movie was fucking awesome.
It was also breathtaking.
It wasn't breathtaking. It was just fucking awesome. Like here's what I'll say about Godzilla King of the, well, it wasn't breathtaking for me. Here's what I'll say. The movie was so much better. Like, okay, the movie is a retelling of Godzilla versus Ghidorah. Okay, that's basically what it is. They switched some things around. Like Rodan is a straight up villain for part of it, but like they got Mothra. Pretty much, they have a pretty vicious looking Mothra. They have Godzilla being Godzilla. They have a Dr. Serizawa sacrificing himself. It's like the best hits of flipping around Godzilla mythos. There's different versions of Godzilla in here. You even have burning Godzilla, which is fucking badass as fuck. There's
and the difference is he doesn't die from after becoming burning Godzilla.
No. He gets it out of his system. He fights and it fits the. I mean, literally, like when we did our podcast where I guessed the plot of the movie, by and large, like 85% of it, I was spot on. Even the part where I said, hey, it doesn't make sense that Ghidorah would be an Earth monster because Ghidorah's never been an Earth monster. It doesn't make sense that Ghidorah would be a monster from Earth. And God damn it, I was right.
The multiverse confirms that aliens exist.
Yeah. Monster Zero is a monster from outer space. The humans, they have a massive airship that they use to fight King Ghidorah. Like it looks like some shit they stole from Toho. Like the only thing missing from this film, and they even sample some of the original songs from the Toho library of music for Godzilla. They have Mothra's theme in the movie, like her later themes, like the '90s themes, not the Matsuda theme from the '60s, which is sad. I would have been happy with that, but fuck it.
Well, it's still there. It does that.
It's the modern. It's the version from the '90s Mothra reboot, which takes some hints from that version, but it's not a one for one. But I took it. I'm like, I'm gonna let that go. Okay. They have Godzilla's theme, which is fucking awesome. I'm like, in the 2014 movie, I'm like, why are you playing this generic bullshit? You've got to carry. If you guys license Godzilla, why did you license the theme? And yet here they do it because when Godzilla shows up, they play that iconic Godzilla. Oh shit, shit's going down, son. And they play it when Godzilla's kicking ass, taking names, and he has his moves. He has his tail swipe. He's got his Miyazaki throw. He kicks a lot of ass in this film. Even when he's getting his ass kicked, he's making it look good. Spoiler: Mothra dies, but there's another. There's another Mothra in the film because there's always two Mothra because she always has two eggs, or two larvae come from one egg or whatever. There's always a backup. She doesn't make it, but that's okay. There's always two Mothra. There's always a backup. There's always a failsafe. And there's more. There's other monsters in this film. There's other monsters in the film. There's like a whole bunch of them. They've got Kumanga, they've got Spiga, and some monsters they just kind of made up, like a mammoth-looking thing.
Aren't they building up?
And they have a Muto.
And a Muto, but I'm like, who cares about the Muto?
Aren't they building up on Godzilla and King Kong?
Yeah. The whole movie. Well, they do have an Avengers type end scene where the human villain of the film, of the second film of King of the Monsters, there's a point in the film where Godzilla destroys he rips off one of Ghidorah's heads, but Ghidorah's a space monster, so he regrows that head from the stump on his body. But the head itself is like someone finds it and puts it in a warehouse, and it shows up where the villain's like, he comes into the warehouse and he looks at it and he's like, well, take it. And that's the end of it.
Call it a hunch, but I suspect that villain is actually an alien in disguise, and his race is responsible for bringing Ghidorah onto Earth thousands of years ago.
I mean,
and he's trying to build this universe's version of Mecha King Ghidorah.
It's possible. I mean, we're still gonna have to get to King Kong versus Godzilla. Basically, which is going to be an awesome fight. I mean, they've already said that it's going to be King Kong versus King Kong's going to win against Godzilla, which even back in the 60s when I saw King Kong versus Godzilla, I called bullshit on. Even without the size difference. I'm like, King Kong has no projectile attack. I mean, if you have atomic fire breath, that's way more badass.
Well, here's the thing though. King Kong will still win because he's intelligent. He's an ape. And
so is Godzilla. You don't think a fire-breathing fucking dragon isn't intelligent?
He's also a reptile, and reptiles aren't as smart as...
Godzilla is intelligent enough to take a hit, go back to his ancient temple to regenerate and heal. Kenoshi.
And also, King Kong can use tools.
So... your point? A chimpanzee can use tools, but they're still afraid of the water and alligators and shit in the water. I don't mean shit. Anyway, King Kong, and it just doesn't make sense. Fire breath. Like basically, in order for Toho King Kong to defeat Godzilla, they had to give him powers that he didn't really have in order to make the shit work, which was bullshit back then. And I'm calling it right now. The King Kong versus Godzilla fight's probably going to be bullshit now. It's probably going to end with King Kong defeating this version of Godzilla who's become corrupted with power. But what he doesn't know is that there's an egg. And from that egg emerges a new Godzilla, the son of Godzilla. And that's probably how they're going to end this new Godzilla trilogy with the new Godzilla being...
And I'm hoping that there's going to be a Godzilla fighting game based off of the MonsterVerse.
I mean, you mean the one that the American one that they made that's basically just a knockoff of Toho, what Toho did back in the day.
Yeah.
Here's the irony of the American Godzilla series. Like, it's flipped because Shin Godzilla to me was not a very good Godzilla movie. It's a good disaster movie, but it's not a very good Godzilla movie. And the 2014 Godzilla movie is more Toho than the Toho movie that they made.
I was actually talking about just the MonsterVerse only, like only using the Godzilla characters from that universe.
You mean their reinterpretation of established Toho characters? Like they've got Spaiga, Kumonga, Amanda, Anguirus.
No, I was speaking more in terms like using the movie versions of Godzilla, Mothra, Rodan, and King Ghidorah, and King Kong as well as the original. Well,
that's what I'm saying. Those characters, a lot of those monsters are original, but a lot of them are reinterpretations of Toho monsters.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. They're the MonsterVerse version. They're the Legendary Picture versions of those classical monsters, which I'm okay with. I mean,
I was thinking that NetherRealm Studios should develop it since because those movies are distributed by Warner Brothers.
No.
And Warner Brothers owns NetherRealm Studios.
No. Because if NetherRealm made it, it would be a 2D fighter. And if you're going to do a Godzilla monster game, it's going to have to be something like a Destroy All Monsters, All Monsters Attack type thing, where you're in a huge arena destroying the city. Because if these monsters are fighting, shit around them is going to get destroyed too. We already saw that in 2 movies.
And what makes you think anybody's going to survive all that destruction?
Well, it's like Dr. Sarazawa said, we have oxygen destroyer, man, fuck you. Let them fight. It's like, but we can evacuate. Let them fight. But what about let them fight? You just want to see 2 giant monsters fighting. Let them fight. Let them fight. It's like, how are we gonna solve? Let them fight.
Yeah, let them fight and see how the city survives.
Yeah, let them fight. Look, Look, now, I mean, now that I've fanned out about the film, I will say some nitpicks because fuck it, why not? Three things. The human beings, like the plot from the first 30 minutes of the film, you pretty much know what's happening in this movie. You know who's in on the conspiracy. You know what's going down. It's pretty easy to see what's happening. If you've watched a Godzilla film, especially if you're a hardcore Godzilla fan, you've watched a lot of them, you know what the plot of this movie is. Some of the humans are dumb. They kill off some of the better actors in the film, which sucks. Except for one character who's like, fuck you, you should have died 30 minutes ago. Which is kind of sad. They keep on killing off the wrong people.
I was about to say, it was the villain that died last, wasn't it?
Well, kind of the villain. Like in the first film, they killed off Bryan Cranston's character, and I was like, why kill off Bryan Cranston's character when you could have killed off Kick-Ass and Scarlet Witch, which would have made a lot more sense. Kick-Ass and his sister, Kick-Ass Quicksilver and his sister wife Scarlet Witch.
They do have a new character who's like Bryan Cranston's character who hates Godzilla.
What? And then now like the new guy taking over. The new guy taking over from one of the better actors in the film, who's an okay actor, not as good as Ken Watanabe. He's like, well, Godzilla didn't kill his son. His son was a casualty of Godzilla fighting fucking Mutos. Which is, I mean, it's like saying, oh man, you were mauled while a bear was fighting another bear. Like, look, the bear didn't maul you. It's like the bear was fighting another bear and you accidentally got mauled. It's nothing personal. The monster is not trying to kill you. Now, that Ghidorah was trying to kill people. Ghidorah was looking at people like, I'm going to get your ass. Godzilla was like, look, as long as you don't fuck with me, we'll get along just fine. Just don't start no shit, won't be no shit. But Ghidorah is like, I see you, motherfucker. I'm gonna get you, bitch. Fuck you, bitch. Monster Zero's a dick. Plus, Monster Zero killed Mothra, which I like Mothra. She's awesome. But
I'm currently debating whether or not I should buy the mecha figures of the Godzilla 2019 monsters or the 43 S-Stage Monster Arts figures.
Man, whatever you want, whatever fits your criterion. Me, I've never been much of a Godzilla figurine person. The only figurines that I have are like the 60s, like up to like the 90s series, like 84 to 95. So Godzilla 84 all the way up to like the old Godzilla's all the way up. When I went to Japan to the Toho studio, they have all that paraphernalia, but it's really fucking expensive. It's overpriced as fuck. If you ever go to Toho studios, don't buy their shit there because it's expensive. It's overpriced bullshit. But yeah. The film. That's my only. Those are my only nitpicks about the film is that it kind of the script writing kind of sucks. But here's what I will say. Still, the script is dumb, but you can follow it. And even though it's dumb, it does kind of follow a chain of logic, unlike the plots of the 5 Michael Bay Avengers films, which just are terrible. 5 Michael Bay Transformers films, which are just fucking terrible. They're just, God. But yeah, overall, pretty damn good. Loved it. Thought it was pretty awesome. I wish more people would have. Well, I mean, this film is on its way to make a lot of money, so I hope it can get its cash before Men in Black International comes out. Because when Men in Black International comes out, it's gonna eat everybody's lunch.
And meanwhile, I'm still waiting for Endgame to dethrone Avatar.
Endgame? I think it's already dethroned Avatar.
No, it's still $91 million away.
Well, it'll probably hit that in about a week. Probably this week. It'll probably hit that. But anyway, overall, I enjoyed it. I mean, I think Avatar was a one-trick pony because, like, people wanted that graphical spectacle, but I don't think Avatar 2 is going to hit those numbers because just like that movie.
Yeah,
aside from the graphics,
I still have yet to see. I own Avatar. I still have yet to see it.
Yeah.
Anyway,
It hold up very well.
It's basically Dances with Wolves in space.
No, it's not even Dances with Wolves in space. It's Pocahontas in space.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think it was one of the first 3D movies. The first 3D movies to come back.
It's the first fully 3D movie, but the problem is that not fully 3D. It's the first fully CGI 3D movie. The problem is that the plot of the movie sucks. Like, here's the problem with James Cameron. James Cameron James Cameron's always been caught up in special effects. Like, even back in the day, he was caught up in special effects. But here's the problem. Back in the day, his movies were special effects heavy, but they also had a plot to them. Like, if you watch the original Terminator, Terminator 2, Aliens, one of my personal favorite James Cameron movies, The Abyss. Like, The Abyss has a plot, right? Like all these different films.
But didn't he plagiarize a couple of stories for Terminator's plot?
Yeah, but I mean, aside from look, I'm not saying that he personally created it. I'm just saying that there's a plot. There's an overall plot tying things together that makes a sense. Avatar's plot is lazy as fuck, and it's just barely there. It's basically over time, James Cameron has lost his touch, his sense of creating a plot and characters to being a slave to special effects. And that's the problem with James Cameron, is that he's such a fucking slave to special effects.
I was gonna make the joke that he's turning into Michael Bay.
No, he's turning into George Lucas.
Because
people forget. Like, remember, like, okay, everyone's like, and fuck George Lucas. George Lucas gave us the original Star Wars trilogy and Willow, which is not a bad movie. And I mean, Howard the Duck, which I know like a lot of people hate that movie, but I love it. It's bad, but I love it. How many PG movies do you know open up with a female duck in a bathtub about to have some fun time by herself? PG film for kids. Like, literally, you go into Howard's house and there's like all these writing awards where he's a writer, and one of them is Play Duck, which is a play on Playboy. Kids movie. Fucking kids movie. And it's heavily implied that he and Leah Thompson in that movie are fucking. Okay? So, hey, look, man. Listen. Any movie that is willing to entertain, to actually strip the innocence and say, hey, this is a universe where people fuck. Look, I give kudos to anyone who's willing to make those types of choices. I think the flaw with Howard the Duck is that it was marketed towards kids, but it's actually like an R. It should be R-rated. It really should just, like, if they ever reboot Howard the Duck, it should just be R-rated. It should be Marvel's first official R-rated film, because Howard the Duck, if you read the comics, it's like kind of R-rated anyway. It's like it's humorously R-rated, but it's R-rated. But yeah, I mean, like George Lucas, once the late 80s, 90s hit, he became obsessed with special effects and trying to make things better with special effects. And that's why you had the gold edition of Star Wars where he's like, yeah, I took this out, I tweaked this, I added this. Like, dude, no one wanted this. Sometimes the imperfections are what make something attractive. For example, there's been experiments where they've taken someone and made their face quote unquote perfect, taken out all the asymmetry, the imperfections, the pop marks, and it looks weird. It's off-putting. So it's like, like Star Wars, the gold edition, where they took out all the stuff and added this here. It looks weird. It's off-putting. It's out of place. Look, sometimes just let shit be. Just let it be. But James Cameron, he's going even farther than George Lucas because he's like obsessed with special effects. It's like, man, look at this. Look at this. Look at these special effects. It's like, dude, fuck special effects. I need a story.
Yeah. I think we need to go back to practical effects and you know, other stuff. Practical effects.
Where were you?
CGI. If you go back to practical, we should go to like practical effects where CGI is just the racist.
Where were you when Missy Link was out in theaters?
What?
Where were you when Missy Link was out in theaters? That uses practical effects, stop motion.
I watched it because it was stop motion, which I like. I like stop motion. I mean, I like traditional hand-drawn animation.
That question was more geared towards Kenoshi.
No, I mean, I like CGI. I mean, like CGI. Okay, like it's not that I have a vendetta against CGI. I just think that if you become an over reliance on computer-generated, computer-animated images versus having a decent plot. I mean, I'll let some shit go if the plot's good. But I mean, James Cameron's just gotten fucking lazy with plots. I mean, the plot of Avatar is literally Pocahontas in space.
But at least we can hope that the sequel is going to be more. It's going to have a more original plot.
Have we seen any trailers or anything for the sequel?
Man, that game ain't
apparently no.
That movie ain't getting made
because he keeps delaying the movie's release date.
Yeah, that movie ain't
getting made.
That movie ain't getting made. Like basically, here's the problem with CGI is that every year the CGI gets better. So something that you think looks really good this year, next year is going to look like shit. Whereas practical special effects, if they're done well, look good for a long time. Like John Carpenter's The Thing. Yeah, there's some scenes that look ridiculous, like when they're all tied to that chair and that guy turns out to be one of the things and his head splits open and he grabs the guy's head and you can clearly see where there's just a guy holding a doll with some rigs to make it to let him move it around while he's holding it. Like you can clearly tell that that's kind of fake. But all the other special effects in that movie are like, shit, this is god damn, because it's all practical. Someone actually made that. It exists. Someone made that.
Hey guys, I'm gonna head out. I'll talk to you guys next week.
All right, peace.
Later.
I can't deal with it anymore. I can't. Too much CGI kills a movie. So with that being said, anyone have anything else that they want to say before we wrap things up?
It's kind of a way to advertise my latest article at Video Game Facts.
All right.
Where I talk about the great Banjo versus Steve debate.
Banjo-Kazooie versus Steve as
in regards to who should be the Microsoft representative for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate DLC.
Well, I mean, I know that Microsoft owns. I know that they own Rare, and I know that they bought Notch.
Mojang.
They own Mojang. But I don't consider those to be Microsoft IPs because they didn't create them. They created, they didn't even create Master Chief. They have nothing that they actually created themselves as a mascot. So
that's kind of odd when you think about it.
It just shows how much of a fucking fraud Microsoft is as a video game company.
And Epic learned from Microsoft.
And the one character that they did create, Blinks the Time Cat, they let the rights lapse too, so they don't own it anymore. So fuck them.
The reason why is because there's pretty much both of their supporters are at their head are in each other's necks at the moment because Banjo supporters are trashing Steve from Minecraft because they think that he lacks personality and stiff animations and how he's too new. Whereas Steve supporters are trashing Banjo-Kazooie for being irrelevant and literal who's to the newer gamers.
Well, here's what I'll say. Steve isn't really a character because basically, like, if you play Minecraft, you're not playing as Steve. You create your own character. And how your character looks and all that shit. So, and you don't even see what your character looks like anyway. So what's the fucking point?
Not unless you create some kind of mirror.
Yeah, and even then, you can change how your character looks. So Steve is irrelevant. And Banjo-Kazooie, while he's been driven to irrelevance by Microsoft's need to have Rare make shitty games, at a time, there was a time during the 5th generation where Banjo-Kazooie was arguably making better games than Nintendo was in terms of the like Banjo-Kazooie and Banjo-Tooie were better in scope than Mario 64. So, I mean, I think Banjo has had higher heights than Minecraft
Steve
has ever achieved. But that being said, I think neither of them should be in Smash Brothers. I think the rare character who should be in Smash Brothers should be Conker. Conker or the Battletoads. Like, just one of the Battletoads. Or they could have all of them as skins. That'd be cool. Like different alternate skins. Because they all basically play the same. But anyway, that's just me. Let's see. Anyone else wants to pimp out before we wrap things up?
Nope, got nothing.
All right, so this is Mr. Red Fox. I have something to pimp out. I have a non-spoiler review of Godzilla King of the Monsters on my channel. You can find it there in latest videos put up. Just go to Mr. Red BS Busters. You can rate, comment, share, subscribe. You can reach me on Gmail, Mr. Red Fox BSBusters bsbuster@gmail.com. You can also reach me on Twitter at Matthew Wesley at Mr. Red Fox 91. So that being said, remember, rate, comment, share, subscribe. Thank you for joining. If you would like to be a member of the podcast, just get in touch with me. Let me know. If you have topic suggestions, click on one of those. You can reach me on Twitter or Gmail, and I'll respond back. So with that being said, remember, rate, comment, share, subscribe. Peace.
and hype responsibly.